All right, welcome back for our last segment for the coffee table. We're going to go over how to apply stain to your project. In between the last video and this one, I did take a significant amount of time to put some of that wood filler in every nail hole, every air gap, and the trim, and on the like you see on the top here, and then gave that a good sanding. Gave the whole thing just a once over with 220, so it's extra smooth. I did wood burn my name and the date on the bottom, so don't forget to do that. And we leveled it out in the previous video at the beginning of that one too, so don't trust this wobbly table. It checked out on the floor. But anyway, so yeah, I know I skipped that step as far as a video, but give that one some significant time. I could easily see you spending 1 or 2 days in class just making the thing look nice. That really separates, a letter grade a difference potentially. Just all the different cracks, nail holes, gaps, and things. Just, it really separates a good project from, an outstanding project. But anyway, in this video, we're going to talk about applying the stain. Now, you did apply stain to your keepsake box lid, but this one with a much bigger project, I do want to explain it a little bit more. It's just as far as areas to hit and where not to, that kind of thing. You do want to stir the stain because it's oil and color pigment, and that color pigment can settle from the oil and collect on the bottom. This is golden oak, and it seems to stay pretty well diluted and mixed. The darker the color, the more you're probably gonna have to fight that. So for those of you picking like the red mahogany or the Sedona red even, the true or jet black, those you're really gonna fight with. But anyway, I grabbed a white rag out of the bin. Watch your clothes for this one. You might want to pull up your sleeves. If you got, if you know the day you're gonna stain, try not to wear white clothes. So in basic woods, with just when you're staining the lid, you probably didn't take too much. This is a much bigger undertaking, so you're definitely going to use more than one rag, but try not to use a ton. But anyway, do not use foam brushes. Talked about that a lot in basic woods, but again, you use a foam brush, it slops it on super heavy, and you're not able to wipe up the excess, and that brush is garbage. You're gonna have to throw it away if you do that anyway. So what we're gonna do is just work our way around this project. Now, I'll try to go a little too heavy on a spot just so you can kind of see, but if you catch it in the light, I'm not sure if this camera is going to do that justice, but you can definitely see a heavy spot there. Find a clean spot on your rag and clean that up. During the sanding and kind of just that last once over I was doing with everything, I did also really scour this thing well. We'll see how good I did, but I was really looking for any excess glue, and where joints come together, those are spots where that can happen. So where trim meets plywood, where legs come together, where skirts and legs meet, just all the joints. Really take your time, look for glue. You should always give everything a once over sand anyway, but those are the areas that we'll find out here how well I did, because it'll block stain. This stain is different than poly. Stain penetrates into the wood. This actually doesn't like harden on the surface. like poly does. So if you have glue in the way, it won't penetrate, it won't go into the wood, and you'll get a nasty kind of yellowy look. And it's a common mistake because wood glue is designed to be the color of wood. So for things that aren't stained, you get away with it. But unfortunately, you pay for it when you want to stain something. It's usually nice things you end up staining, so it's double trouble. But just keep working your way around. Try not to make a big, it's not a paintbrush. I've seen people, try to treat them like a paintbrush. It's supposed to be I'm putting some pressure on it, trying to push it into the wood. And the corners and things are probably the hardest spots to do. And for those, you may just have to saturate your rag and get a sharp edge and really just press it in there, and then do the best you can to wipe up the excess. So there, let's go a little heavy. But I'd rather, unfortunately, I'd rather it be a little heavy in the corner than not in the corner at all. So, saturate the rag, really pinch it into the corner, but then do your best to clean it up. This looks like I have to do that a little bit for these 90s in here too. Like I said, make sure you do give it a good once over with 220 grit. A smoother surface, your staining will go better, your rag won't get torn up as fast. This rag is lasting longer than I actually expected it to. But you can see there's a tight corner here that I gotta make sure I get a fresh bit for. Now, paper towel, it's starting to come apart on me, so I'll kind of fold up, find a new spot. But it's not ideal. I mean, somebody who willing to spend a lot more on it would probably use like an actual rag, something cloth, because this, these work rags are better than just the cheapo paper towels, but they do eventually start to fray and make messes. Now, is that? Oh, I think that's wood filler. I was gonna say, I think we might have an example of some wood glue, but I got the rag good and saturated on that corner and shoved it in there, and it took the stain. So that was just some wood filler, I think. Make sure you get underneath everything here. You can see I'm getting a little bit of fraying from my rag. It's probably getting to the end of its rope here. So find a spot to lift up. Now, as far as areas to hit, probably should wrap this up here. I don't think you have to sit here through this entire staining process, but You know, obviously the top, you're gonna get inside, get underneath, make sure you hit all those surfaces, get on the, you know, the inside here. You're obviously gonna hit the plywood here, all the obvious surface areas. You will stain every bit of hardwood, you know, and the top of the plywood. So think about that. You know, your top, underneath the top, skirts, all around, legs, inside. Okay, even the leg insides, the trim bottom, the bottoms of the feet of the legs, you know, just everything inside here. The only thing I'm not gonna have you stain is the bottom of the plywood, just because it's, you know, kind of just a waste to stain. No one's ever gonna see that. So, but I would still stain the bottom of the trim, just so, again, from a low angle, no one could see it. If you get some stain on the bottom, I don't care. It's just putting a hole, that's a lot of surface area to waste stain on. So, but you can see I did the bottom of the leg, the inside of the leg, you know, just from any low angle, I don't want to be able to see. Yeah, so anyway, but yeah, that's the process. This is going to take me a little bit longer. I won't have to make you stick around for that, but try to get this done in one day. You're going to want to get the beginning of class early, maybe even just before attendance, just say, hey, I'm here, and go stain, because this will take you the entire hour to finish. So, and you don't want to do half of it one day, half another day, because it will, any overlap, like, you know, so you do one half of this and then you hit over it, it will be slightly darker. You won't get double the darkness, but it will be a little bit darker and uneven, so you don't want that. But anyway, this rag's probably toast, getting torn up a little bit. So again, oily rags go into the fire trash can, and then I'll grab another rag here and finish this up. So poly, you have the options to do the water-based stuff, and then you use the same foam brushes. 6-day process like you did in basic woods is the default option. If you want to use oil base, that's something you can talk to me about. You will have to provide your own brushes, and you'll throw them away at the end every day, but it does add a little more of a wet, shinier look to it. So I'm going to keep going. I'm going to get this all finished up, and that'll be it. Okay, I just wanted to give you a quick update now that we got it done. Turned out really good, didn't take too long. Just one thing that I wanted to just reiterate is just how you want to make sure you get every surface. So, you know, if you gotta touch it ever so, you know, carefully on an inside corner, something, you know, check underneath here, inside those lower corners and everything. You just gotta really get on a swivel here and check everything out. When you're done, you know, you're gonna put your project somewhere to dry, whether it's in the storage rooms or around here. I know it gets kind of crowded in this class with all the coffee tables. Stain can, you got to get the lid put on it, put it back in the flammable cabinet. Your rags all go into that fire bin. And then make sure to wash your hands really well with that orange Gojo soap to the sink. That's a solvent and oil that's in that stain can, and that sitting on your hands for a long period of time can cause some redness and that kind of stuff if you don't wash your hands really well. So, but yeah, it turned out really well. You know, as far as what does it look like if you accidentally leave some glue behind, I guess I had a spot right here on the bottom, which, you know, obviously I don't think any of us need to be concerned of, but as you can see, it blocks the stain, which again, upside down on the bottom, that's not a concern, but that has happened to a lot of projects, you know, where boards come together on the top surfaces that people are going to see, or in the legs, and some really noticeable locations. So make sure you really take your time when you sand and look for that. But anyway, but yeah, all you got to do left now is put on your 3 coats of poly, which you should know well how to do if you are unsure, if you need a refresher, I did make a step-by-step tutorial like this, but for the step stool, so you could watch its last two, step like 15 and 16 if I'm not mistaken, and we walked through how to apply poly to that and the process. So it's the same thing for this, so we don't have to recreate a video. But anyway, hope you guys learned something. Again, rewatch any of the videos beforehand, that kind of thing, and we'll talk to you later. Thanks, bye.